Coming up on WUFT Midday, sweeping executive orders and nominations from the Trump administration. We have updates on the president's second week in office.
Plus, tension on immigration is high. How this tension could impact undocumented students in Florida.
And Gainesville's mayor gives a State of the City address, his outlook on the city's future. WUFT Midday starts now.
You're watching WUFT Midday.
A federal judge stepped in to temporarily halt a Trump administration order to pause spending on federal grants and loans just minutes before it was set to take effect last night. This is WUFT Midday. I'm Jesica Wilkinson.
And I'm Kade Sowers. The White House stressed the spending pause would not apply to funds that are directly paid to individuals. Representative Mike Johnson says he fully supports the freeze on Tuesday.
We want to make sure that the executive orders of the new president are being fully complied with regard to these programs. So I think these will be quick reviews. I don't think this is major interruption of programming or anything.
The White House plan is paused until 5 p.m. next Monday when further arguments are scheduled. The stay-in is intended to give the judge time to hear more fleshed out arguments as to why she should issue a temporary restraining order that could block the freeze for an additional 2 weeks. The temporary stay only applies to the disbursement of funds under existing programs. It does not stay any other parts of the Office of Management and Budget memo that announced the freeze.
The Trump administration is pushing for federal workers to return to work in person. NBC Alice Barr reports the president is offering buyouts to those who won't come back to the office.
This morning, more than 2 million federal workers facing a choice: take a newly offered severance package or accept Trump administration requirements, including returning to work in the office. A senior administration official telling NBC News they expect up to 10% to quit, leading to around $100 billion in savings. Some Democrats pushing back on the president's move.
He doesn't have any authority to do this. Do not be fooled by this guy. You were here before he was here, and you'll be here after he was here.
A judge hitting a week-long pause on a separate order freezing federal grants and loans after nonprofit groups, 22 states and Washington, D.C., all sued the Trump administration, citing constitutional provisions that Congress, not the president, sets federal spending. The White House press secretary saying the freeze is aimed at federal aid that might run counter to President Trump's executive orders and is not a blanket pause on all assistance.
Social Security benefits, Medicare benefits, food stamps, welfare benefits, assistance that is going directly to individuals will not be impacted by this pause.
Organizations like Meals on Wheels that delivers meals to seniors confused and concerned.
It's not considered a direct federal assistance program like Social Security or Medicare would be. So we're concerned.
It all comes as President Trump is pressing ahead on immigration enforcement and rounding out his cabinet picks. Today, a confirmation hearing begins for his controversial choice to head the Department of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
An armed man was arrested at the Capitol on Tuesday after threatening to kill Trump cabinet members. Officials say Michael English told police that he wanted to kill top Republicans, including billionaire investor Scott Bessent. He was arrested after he approached police and said he had knives and Molotov cocktails in his possession and wanted to surrender. Investigators say they found a folding knife, 2 homemade firebombs, and a lighter in English's possession. They also searched his vehicle and found material for making a homemade explosive device. English told police that he also intended to kill Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and House Speaker Mike Johnson.
A clash between Trump and Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. The president has promised to aggressively cut interest rates, but the Federal Reserve is expected to hold off further cuts. CNN Matt Egan says fight between the two looks inevitable.
With oil prices going down, I'll demand that interest rates drop immediately, and likewise, they should be dropping all over the world.
Another round in the battle between President Trump and the Federal Reserve. At the World Economic Forum in Davos, the president seemed to suggest that he can force interest rates down. even though we can't.
You said that you would demand that the interest rates come down.
Well, I would put in a strong statement.
Do you expect the Fed to listen to you?
Yeah.
A clash between the president and Fed Chief Jerome Powell looks inevitable.
Trump has a lot of clout. I think he will try to push the Fed around. I think that could begin to unnerve the markets if this becomes a really nasty fight between the two of them.
President Trump wants lower interest rates, but with inflation expectations rising, more rate cuts are unlikely for at least the next few months, and that could enrage the president.
I think I know interest rates much better than they do, and I think I know it certainly much better than the one who's primarily in charge of making that decision.
Powell has said he can't be fired.
Do you believe the president has the power to fire or demote you, and has the Fed determined the legality of a president demoting at will any of the other governors with leadership positions?
Not permitted under the law.
Not what?
Not permitted under the law.
But the president is likely to keep ramping up the pressure.
I think Powell is going to get a load of criticism from the president. Powell's term, though, does not expire until 2026, so he could stay there. But if the criticism is relentless from the White House, Powell could be pushed out.
So why does any of this drama matter? Because the independence of the Fed is at stake.
More importantly, if the markets start to sense that inflation is not under control, that the Fed is becoming a little too lax, that's a big deal. And there could be a suspicion in the markets that the Fed is going easy on interest rates to satisfy Trump. And that would not be a good signal for the markets, which like an independent Fed.
We're seeing warmer weather today, even with some lows. It's a welcome difference after the past 2 cold weeks. The UF weather team says we will continue to see this trend of warmer weather. Let's head over to UF meteorologist Maxham, live in the weather studio, tracking the warm-up and what you can expect into the weekend.
Yeah, warmer temperatures are it in 2 words. That's what we've got coming our way. It's already in the upper 60s right now with plenty of sunshine. We did have some early morning fog, but the warming temperatures are going to be a trend as we move ahead into the weekend and actually into next week as well. Despite the fact that we're expecting a cold front to roll through, it's really just going to slow down that warm up a little bit as we go into the weekend and maybe give us a little bit of rain. Right now, showers falling into North Texas and southern Oklahoma. That's our next weather maker into the weekend. Before that, we're dry and temperatures remain above average. We're in the mid 60s. Now we'll make it into the low 70s and eventually get down into the 50s and 40s overnight tonight. The warm up could reach as high as 80 degrees next week. We'll talk more details in a few minutes.
Former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi will get a vote in the Senate for the U.S. Attorney General. The Senate Judiciary Committee voted to send her nomination to the full Senate with a 12-10 vote along party lines. The earliest the Senate could vote to confirm Bondi would be tomorrow, but with the long list of nominees to be confirmed, the vote could be pushed into next week. Bondi got the nomination after Trump's first pick for the position, former Florida Representative Matt Gaetz, dropped out of the process.
Undocumented students in Florida may face raising tuition rates. Governor Ron DeSantis and legislators both support a measure that would repeal a 2014 law that lowered in-state tuition for Dreamers. At a press conference Tuesday, activists criticized the position of Lieutenant Governor Jeanette Nunes, who championed the law 10 years ago, but withdrew her support over the weekend.
We're here to defend in-state tuition because this, again, is a common sense solution. Quite frankly, it's sad that the Lieutenant Governor is bowing down to the pressure of an increasingly erratic governor.
An end to the program could nearly triple tuition for undocumented students and leave many questioning how to afford their education.
Florida law enforcement agencies intercepted more than 24 Chinese nationals today in Coral Gables. A citizen tip led them to vehicles that were taking them. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement has been working under Governor DeSantis' Operation Vigilant Sentry Executive Order. An FDLE press release says this is to stop criminal aliens from into Florida. Coral Gables Police Chief Ed Hudak disclosed evidence from the bust.
There was documentation, there was currency, and there was papers along with the 26 individuals. So as far as human trafficking, ourselves working with the FDLE realized that this is not something that people were there against their will.
This comes only 11 days after more than 20 people were detained in Coral Gables, with 3 facing human smuggling charges.
This morning, Mayor Harvey Ward gave his annual State of the City address to Gainesville community. He touched on several topics addressing the needs of neighbors. The theme of his speech centered around safety. Mayor Ward discussed at length how to keep children safe from a number of threats, including gun violence and dangers on the roadways.
And when we say improve safety, what we mean is save lives. How can better lighting save lives when people are out walking or cycling or driving at night? Our Vision Zero initiative is aimed at altogether eliminating traffic deaths and serious injuries by 2040.
During the address, shedding light on the contributions of NBA icon Shaquille O'Neal's connection to Gainesville. We will have a full wrap-up of the mayor's speech later today on First at 5 on Channel 5.
The College of Central Florida in Ocala is hoping to address the critical nursing shortage with a new state-of-the-art facility. The college will host a ribbon-cutting ceremony for the new Advent Calendar Health Center for Nursing Thursday. A press release says the center has skill labs and simulation rooms that will serve more than 300 students in RN and bachelor degree programs. The college said the new facility will cost $20 million to build.
We're starting to warm up here after snow and frosty days last week, but with some good weather, we might be seeing more traffic on the road. Let's take a look now. You're seeing Payne's Prairie on I-75 from our DOT camera. There are only a few cars on the road with clear sunny skies, so if you're heading out for lunch, you should be in the clear from any heavy traffic. Let's head over to UF meteorologist William Maxham with what you can expect today and the rest of the week.
Kade, no need to drive anywhere for the good weather. It's here, the end of the month. It's finishing with some warm temperatures into the upper 70s next couple days, but that cold earlier this month brought down the averages significantly. In fact, this is going to end up being the coldest January ever, at least as far as the average levels are. The number two, long time ago, over 20 years ago, 2003. Temperatures are warming up, but we're still into the 30s in the early morning hours today, and it was 37 Lake City and about 40 in Gainesville. We had some areas of fog that were quite dense in the early part of the day. That fog is gone, but we could see more of that patchy fog developing after midnight tonight. For now, though, the skies are clear over campus. Just a few high-level clouds passing through. We're not going to see much blocking that sunshine as we head into the weekend. Cold front, though, will slow down our warm-up a bit and bring us a couple sprinkles. That's about it. So temperatures now upper 60s to near 70 degrees. We'll make it into the low 70s today, but the warm-up keeps on coming. Winds out of the west right now. They're on the light side, so without much wind in the overnight hours tonight, I think that's when we're going to see that fog developing again. 70s today, but fog potentially could be dense in a few spots early in the morning tomorrow. Be careful if you're doing some traveling. That could be difficult to navigate. Visibility today, we're under a mile, but besides the warm up, the only thing weather-wise going on in the short term, we've got a big upper level low here. It's bringing some showers into the southern plains around Oklahoma and to North Texas. This front, though, going to head our way, but as it arrives, it's going to take the best energy well to the north, so it's a fizzling front to push us through Friday nights. We're warm through the afternoon. Front arrives after dark. We'll see a sprinkle or two into Saturday morning, but that is about it. The weekend actually going to end up pretty nice. Temperatures not coming down hardly any, just back into the mid-70s Saturday. Temperatures keep on cranking up next week. Highs could be as high as the low 80s for a few days next week. The temperatures next week going to eventually come down. We're looking at another cold front moving into our region around the end of next week, but until then, the warm-up will continue. 80s next week.
Frontier Airlines is trying to save Spirit Airlines again in a statement Wednesday. Frontier officials says a merger would save Spirit from bankruptcy, but Spirit isn't interested and rejected the offer, saying it was too low. In 2022, Frontier and Spirit had plans to merge, but the deal died after JetBlue came in with a bigger offer for Spirit. However, that planned merger was blocked by a federal judge. Spirit filed for bankruptcy late last year and has recently laid off 200 employees.
If you own a Honda vehicle, listen up. Check to see if your car is one of the 295,000 Honda recall vehicles due to an engine stall issue. A Honda press release says this issue could cause the check engine light to come on and cause the engine to lose drive power or stall. Here are some of the vehicles that are being recalled. Honda has recalled some 2022 to 2025 Acura MDX Type S, 2023 to 2025 Honda Pilot, and 2021 to 2025 Acura TLX Type S vehicles. If you are affected, take your car to an authorized dealer or visit their website for repairs.
The USDA has tips for keeping your Super Bowl food safe. If you're cooking your food, USDA says cooked snacks can't be at room temperature for more than 2 hours. They need to be under 40 degrees or over 140 degrees to prevent foodborne illnesses. But if you're getting takeout, be sure to use insulated containers when picking up and to pick up stages rather than at once. This will keep the food from staying out the whole game. Also, use a food thermometer and watch your hands.
Coffee lovers heading to Starbucks can expect to see a smaller menu, so be sure to look out for what's gone soon. The chain is cutting about 30% of its drink and food items. Starbucks CEO made the announcement in an earnings call Tuesday. This cut is to simplify ordering and speed up service. It's unclear what items are going away, but olive oil drinks and iced energy beverages have already disappeared from the menu. Starbucks' new menu is expected to roll out in the next few months. Now let's head over to our Noticias partners for a look at today's top stories on our Spanish language audience.
Hola, yo soy Ana Matute con tus noticias en 90 segundos. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. comparece ante el Comité de Finanzas del Senado en las primeras de 2 audiencias. Kennedy se distanció de sus declaraciones al ser interrogado sobre sus posturas pasadas de antivacunas, asegurando que no es antivacunas. En sus declaraciones iniciales, Kennedy manifestó su preocupación sobre la salud estadounidense, ya que dijo que según los CDC, el 90% del gesto del sistema de salud va dirigido a manejar enfermedades crónicas, que en su mayoría afecta a personas de bajos ingresos. Y él está dispuesto a trabajar por ideas para el bienestar de los estadounidenses. El nominado de secretario de Salud tendrá otra cita con otro comité este jueves. Juez Loren Alicán bloqueó la congelación de fondos federales para los préstamos públicos, subvenciones y otras ayudas. Una coalición de organizaciones sin fines de lucro presentó el caso ante la Corte discutiendo que la congelación podría causar daño irreparable. El bloqueo está en efecto hasta el lunes para dar tiempo al juez para escuchar los argumentos de las organizaciones. Sus objetivos con la Corte emita una orden de restricción que permita bloquear la congelación por 2 semanas más. México se manifiesta en contra del cambio al nombre del Golfo de México. El presidente Donald Trump en una orden ejecutiva cambió el nombre del Golfo de México al del Golfo de América, en reconocimiento a este florecimiento recurso económico. Como respuesta, la presidenta de México, Claudia Sheinbaum, ignora este movimiento diciendo que solamente aplica en los Estados Unidos y que su país no cumplirá con el cambio. Algunos residentes de México están preocupados ya que este cambio podría eliminar cientos de años de historia. Esas fueron sus noticias en 90 segundos. Gracias por sintonizarnos.
Now let's get over to WFT's First at 5 anchor Juan Carlos Chowie with a look at what's coming up later on Channel 5.
Thanks, Jessica. We've got quite the lineup coming up on First at 5 later today. First, the impact President Trump's federal freeze could have on local businesses here in Gainesville, and how the freeze could also affect student loans. Finally, how a proposed bill could provide free food to public school students. All this and more later today on First at 5.
Well, Charlie, sounds exciting. I can't wait to hear what you have to say at 5. I look forward to hearing it.
All right, before we go, one last check on the weather.
Yeah, warm up going to continue. Today we're into the mid-70s with sunny skies. Cold front comes in just before the weekend, but any showers we do see are probably going to happen before sunrise on Saturday. So we're looking pretty sunny into the afternoon. Temperatures into the 70s both days of the weekend, and the heat stays with us. We're at least 10 degrees above average pretty much every day as we rise up into the low to mid-80s next week. Showers, though, potentially back in the forecast next weekend.
We'll see you later today for First at 5 on Channel 5. Have a great afternoon.